Inside Story Uganda. Real source of
26 elections. Do these parties really have anything to deliver on the political landscape? Well, that's one of the questions among several others that we'll be asking our panelists tonight. Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, a frontliner and member of parliament for Kira municipality, now with PFF, spokesperson of the PFF. Ofono Opondo, an aspirant member of parliament, currently running all over the country, soliciting support from the elderly groups. How is it going?
The late Shaka Sari would say terrific. I have got broad support. I've not found big issues. I think it is mine to lose.
Wow, yeah. Thank you. Honorable Mike Mabike, now with the Democratic Front, formerly with the Democratic Party, to SDP, to the DP bloc, now Democratic Front. Good to have you. Yes, he's among the founders of NUP. Do we...
What a rich history.
Do we call you a migrant? A political migrant?
A beautiful record. A very beautiful record.
A nomad?
No, not really. A strugglist.
A strugglist. Good to have you.
Thank you.
And we also have a very privileged to host the Honorable Chris Baryomunsi, Doctor, Member of Parliament for Kinkizi, and the Minister for Information and National Guidance. Good to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. How do we measure knowledge?
I think no knowledge is below the belt.
I have said so. So you want me to justify, I will. But I've told you, Chris Williams, with the knowledge, substantial knowledge of health, is in ICT.
Chris,
with no knowledge is in health.
Honorable Chris, there is something.
Minister is the political supervisor.
Honorable Chris, yes, maybe this would be for the side show, but
yes.
Why are you so mute on the German UPDF fallout as government?
No. You mean myself or government?
Government.
Well, we don't have to talk on everything, especially when we are handling diplomatic relations. There are things which we do, which necessarily do not have to come to the fore. But we do a lot of diplomatic exchanges between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the other country. So not everything has to be in the media.
Yeah, but what's playing out now is that UPDF has literally taken over the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, coming out with all proclamations.
Not really. You see, when the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is handling foreign relations, especially diplomatic communications, they don't have to be in the media. It can be country to country, embassy to embassy. So for you, what you see may be what you see on social media, but there's a lot of communication.
Okay, behind the scenes, what are you doing?
We are harmonizing the relationships between the two countries. And there is no cause for alarm. The relationship and the partnership between Uganda and the European Union and Germany has no crisis, is normal.
Okay, to what extent do you find the exchange from the UPDF regrettable?
Well, there are those exchanges which sometimes are necessary, but we have internal mechanisms within the government how to control some of that communication. And not everything that we do, we have to hold a press conference. For instance, if we hold somebody accountable within the government, we don't have to go outside. We handle it internally. So we have sufficient internal mechanisms to bring harmony in terms of communication.
Honorable Semuju, would you love to start on that note?
Which not?
The UPDF German ambassador fallout.
No, I think you're starting the story in the middle. The European Union ambassadors representing the countries under European Union going to Salim Saleh, who as of this year holds no government position, was in itself irregular. Because at the during the processing of the budget, all government departments are required to submit a list of human resource. The presidency submitted a list of human resource, including presidential advisors, and Saleh's name is no longer there. So as far as I am concerned, Salim Saleh holds no position. But the fact that
You want to say he's no longer a special presidential advisor?
he is not, because the list is submitted, it's a requirement. There are others, he is not on the list, at least one that we have just processed in Parliament. So he holds no position. But the fact that the European ambassadors go to meet Salim Saleh tells you the story of where the country is at the moment. That this country is run by a family. The other day I asked the Speaker of Parliament, I saw some MPs and I said, I had requested the President to publish a list of his family members and the issues that they handle. Say that, you know, on this one I go to a daughter, on this one I go to a brother, on this one I go to the wife. Because for the ambassadors to go and meet someone who is not, and you are saying handling foreign affairs, which foreign affairs are they handled in the Guru? That they are not seeking an audience with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, but they are seeking audience with Salim Saleh in the Guru to discuss relations. That's why things have happened the way they are, because they were irregular from the word go, and they will continue being irregular.
Okay, eventually we saw the UPDF making a huge statement.
The UPDF as an institution has also disintegrated. You now have Muhoozi, who sometimes speaks for himself, but sometimes he asks Chris Magezi to speak for him. Because the institutions of UPDF are institutions that are in the law called the UPDF Act. From the High Command to the Council to various leaderships. What ordinarily should come out of UPDF should be something, that should be a decision taken by one of the institutions running the military. But in this case, I think I saw Saleh saying, I can say sorry, but I don't know what he will tweet this evening. I mean, what is happening, what is playing out in the public is just proof that the UPDF as an institution has also disintegrated. You now have Muhoozi, who is the army. So when he speaks, that's why for you think it is UPDF. But that's the sad reality of Uganda.
Well, you want to come in here with
That's the sad reality of
with
Uganda.
There are two phrases we in political science use. And it is something that is long ago created in the places of democracy, where democracy began. One is power behind the throne. Can you check it? Mm-hmm. And that's all over the world over.
It's a global practice.
Yes, there will be power behind the throne. The ones who you don't see but drive things. And then there's another one, corridors of power. So if you put these together and you're a practitioner, you cannot ignore. You might find that Honorable Samuju is a member of parliament, but the people who drive parliament may not be the people who sit there. Things originate somewhere and come to parliament. And therefore, that should not be a strange thing, that there are many people in the country and outside the country who know if they have something they want from the government of Uganda, they will go via those people.
diplomats make
Yes.
a pilgrimage
Yes, yes. And then,
to power behind the throne.
yes.
Okay.
Only this year, we saw in America a man called Elon Musk.
He has run away.
A man called Elon Musk. In America, they were referring to him as the prime minister, non-elected prime minister of the US. And so you have seen what he has been able to do. And so if America can have somebody who works for the president, even when he's not in the Senate, even when he's not in the Congress, when he's not in the House of Representatives, in Britain, similar. You have just elected a new pope. Do you know who controls the pope? So, this is the fact of political life, and another life, really, so to speak. Now, like Honorable Chris has said, there's a lot of, when there's outburst, you can appreciate, because the UPDF people know, probably, not even probably, in detail, what is going on. And sometimes you reach a level and you're too angry by people you thought were friends, but they are stabbing in the back. And so that outburst is, for me, is understandable. Now, when it happens, it may not be the right thing to do. The government machinery sets in, kicks in, and the matters are harmonized eventually. Now, for them to go to Salem, they live here. They live here, so I think they appreciate. But that does not mean that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is not doing something.
Do you find it awkward that it's the UPDF now shouting at diplomats?
No, I don't find it awkward. This is not the first time. This is not the first time.
Does it make it right?
No, it is right in the circumstances, because they're the ones who know what they're dealing with. And in politics and international relations, you actually need a shock therapy. What do we see from the American president, for example? So things have changed in the world. Sometimes you need that shock therapy, because you see, these Europeans, for me, I have said elsewhere that they are grandchildren of colonialists. These diplomats here, you see the Europeans one, they are grandchildren of colonialists, grandchildren of slave traders. They think we blacks, we Africans, don't have heads. And so you need that shock therapy for them, in my view. So that they say, oh, so we can be answered, we can be tackled rudely also.
So it's tough love.
Yes,
you're spelling tough love for them.
Yes, for me. And you know, the role I've been playing, actually, I've been also doing a hard tackle. So I think we need that shock therapy for them to realize that Africans today are at a different level. You don't just lecture to us. Look at their double standard. And you see, that's what angers people. Look at what they are doing in Palestine to the Palestinians. But they have audacity to come and lecture us on human rights. If I was still in the role I have been playing, I would have answered them probably in a similar way. I would have answered them in a similar way.
But you have answered.
So what they got was light.
I think what they got was light.
Honorable Mabike, your take on the standoff between UPDF and German?
Simon, we don't need a lot of words to explain that circumstance. You know for sure that when diplomats come here, they don't only do diplomatic work, they also do intelligence. And Ofono is right when he says they live here. They know where power lies. President Museveni has told you and has told the country many times that he operates like a guerrilla. Now, guerrillas don't operate conventionally. Guerrillas operate in a meandering manner. They are full of surprises. Now, it has always been the habit of the NRM to operate in a manner that they give you a position and you occupy it, but you are powerless. And somebody else, probably more junior, probably invisible, has more power than the fellow you see. And I think the late Kazora in his book explained this situation very well. Where somebody says, no, that is an army commander, he flies in a chopper for a purpose. But power lies elsewhere. So the diplomats know this. Now, I do not agree with OO when he plays the same narrative. They are now playing the same narrative. Is when it comes to explaining failures. When the Europeans raise failures, when the Europeans raise what's not going right, then the only way they have to explain this away is saying, you guys are nosy, you guys are neo-colonial, you guys are what? But if you don't want these guys to nose in the affairs of the country, you should have done things correct. In the 10-point program, point number 10 was building an independent, integrated, and self-sustaining economy.
No. It is point number 5, sir.
Point number 5.
Yes, sir.
Point number 5. Thank you for that correction. Of course, I'm not NRM. You know that better. Now, had you built an independent and self-sustaining economy, you wouldn't be bothered by these colonies. They are bothering you because, in the first place, they went to northern Uganda. They provide budget support.
Well, thank you very much. I want us now to switch straight to the topic of the night.
Before you switch, you see, you have a budget, 32% of your 72% budget is going to be funded by the children of colonialists and grandchildren. And you don't want them to lecture you. Why don't you go to Kenya and borrow money from Kenya or Rwanda or Tanzania?
Well, I'm saying,
fund your budget fully 100%.
Part of the money in the budget is a grant.
I admit that, but I'm saying, with discipline, we don't need those people's resources.
So where is the red line? Where is the red line? Where should they start and stop?
They've got their money here.
No, it is not their business regarding the governance of this country.
When they are feeding you, they will
is
lecture
in the hands
you.
of Ugandans. They cannot tell us how to govern.
You see, the interesting thing,
The way we don't tell them in their countries how to govern.
one time,
All countries borrow. You look at the amount of debt the US has. So don't intimidate us with the debts of borrowing and so
you
forth.
see, Simon, one
The fact
time,
that we get the money from IMF, World Bank is not an excuse for them to come.
So
and dictate.
so you feel donors cross the red line when they get into issues of human rights abuses?
When they start lecturing us as if we don't know what we are doing, as if they know everything, and for us who are blacks, we don't know.
one time MPs went to meet the president over the sale of Uganda Commercial Bank. And they were very angry that late Mutabire had belittled them. In the meeting, he told them, even me, a whole head of state, I was summoned by a minister of state in the Britain and Kagame. And she told us, because this is not official visit, I will meet you at my hotel somewhere like Chengera. And he said, because we need the money, we had to humble ourselves. So I agree with Ofono. Publicly here, Chris and Ofono can posture. But behind they will be on their knees asking the children
So
of
the
colonialists,
answer
asking the
is
children of
self-sustaining.
colonialists to help them.
The Americans do not lecture to the Chinese
You
because
can
they are
above-
self-sustaining. They do not lecture to the Japanese because they are self-sustaining. They don't. They don't.
Then the DA is in trouble. If you don't know that America tries to lectures to everyone.
Still, Honorable Malike, I want to start with you. We now have a new kid on the block, that is the Democratic Front. Your low-key launch raised quite a number of questions.
First of all,
It suggests that either you are not as heavyweight as anyone would imagine.
wow. Do you think that was the launch occasion? No.
That was the unveiling.
That was a mere press conference to announce. The DF in the coming days, in the coming weeks, is going to be officially launched. So we are yet to organize, the public is yet to see that huge occasion where we launch the DF.
It's quite unusual that
the DF.
There is a press conference where you have to cut a ribbon.
Yes, yes, it is all that is ceremonial. But as you know, we have been in that process for quite some time. We took everybody by surprise, including OO. You know, last time when I was here, OO and Odongoto. We are saying, you know, now when you look at the political landscape of 2026, there are only two big bulls, NRM and NUP. I told them, no, it is too early. It is too early to make such a conclusion. And I think that the events that are unfolding are pointing to exactly that. There is a lot.
No, but you've not caused any ripples yet. We don't see any.
Just watch the space. Just watch the space. We did announce to the world, to the public, that we have a birth. One of the parties inside the DA. The DA has got three parties. Initially, it had three parties actually. The first party was called the Green Partisan Party. The other party was the Social Democratic Party. The other was the PDP. And then it had civic formations like Team My Leader and the DP Bloc. These are civic formations, non-registered. So the DA has got registered, is a platform of registered and non-registered formations. Now, informally, some of you and OO were raising issues which I want to formally respond to. What is the DF? The DF.
Just a second, for the benefit of our viewers, DF morphed from the Green Partisan Party.
Yes.
According to the certificate that was issued.
That's right.
The certificate of registration.
That's right.
And what has it that you bought a political party?
Not right, of course. Not true. The Green Partisan Party has always been part and parcel of the Democratic Alliance. It has been one of the registered platforms or parties on the DA platform. That is number one. Now, having three registered political parties in the DA, of course, there are two tendencies inside the DA. The first tendency was people who think that elections are useless, we shouldn't participate. The other tendency is of people who say, no, elections are important. And there's no other way. If you want to make a bid to change, you go to participate. So those who want to participate are thinking about the following. One, they want to make a common platform. They want an organization that takes care of the interests of all the other registered and non-registered organizations. They also want a common symbol. So, among the three parties now on the DA platform, we are ultimately going to unveil one single formation that is going to take care of the interests of all the other. Okay. We have called it a frontline organization.
Some schools of thought have deemed DF as a group of disgruntled fellows.
Of course,
who, after falling out with the National Unity Platform, have started up their own outfit.
How do you stop anybody from having their own opinions? But those opinions to us matter less. What matters to us is the goal. The goal is to build a unified platform. The goal is to have a unified electoral platform. A goal is to have one common electoral agenda. The goal is to have one common symbol. And the goal is to have an organization that takes care of diverse interests. It's more or less like a movement. It is a broad-based. It's a broad-based formation that we are trying to build ultimately, and it answers a lot of questions. Of course, yes, the platform has many people who are coming from NUP, There are many people on the platform who are coming from the DP. There are many people who are coming from other parties. We will not stop anybody from participating. And you will not stop people from being aggrieved from any party.
Honorable Chris Bimusobede, what's your take on the new party on the block now? We can actually say two parties, DF and the PFF.
Well, you see, on the register of the Electoral Commission, we have close to 40 parties that are registered.
26.
How many?
26.
26, okay, whichever number. But many of them are not known. So now it has become a habit to go and shop and buy some of those moribund parties that are there and try to put some color on them. But many of these, with due respect, they may fail to thrive. There is a condition in the medical field, we call it failure to thrive. You give birth to a live baby, but the baby fails to grow even when you feed it. It just keeps losing weight.
So you suggest their shelf life is limited?
Is limited. So like DF,
What would you say?
PFF, you see, first of all, some of these parties, like we have said correctly, they emerge out of grievances, conflicts, fights, and they do not have a strong ideological ground upon which to rally members to follow. A party like PFF, because you quarrel within FDC, then the following day you form a party because you have just disagreed. That doesn't sound a strong reason for you to start a political party. And my fears are some of these parties may fail to thrive, even when you inject them with the growth hormone, they may not grow. The same with the DF, same with PFF. I doubt whether
so
they will.
You want to say they're stunted on arrival?
On arrival.
Or dead on arrival?
Maybe not dead, just stunted, and they are underweight. You know, like you give birth to a baby, and the baby is weighing 0.3 kilograms. Severely.
Isn't this the same way you despised the National Unity Platform at its onset? And look, it gave you a bloody run.
No, who tells you? Where is the NUP in Karamoja? Where is the NUP in Kigezi? Where is the NUP in West Nile? Where is the NUP in Western Uganda? Is it there? It is just some vacant outfit which is ethnocentric around the central here. And I don't think it has expanded. So, as far as we are concerned, it has not given us a bloody nose as you suggest.
Thank you.
NRM remains strong. So even these new emerging parties, why do they are welcome?
One small thing, of course. Of course, President Museveni wouldn't speak in a manner. Baromos is speaking. Baromos has never started a party.
I am not President Museveni.
Yes, he wouldn't, because he is the founder of your own institution. The NRM emerged out of a quarrel with UPC.
Thank you. Honorable Semujunganda, you've had the reservations and, of course, the misgivings that sections of the country have about your new formations.
You see, because of the nature of the politics in Uganda, I think at a presidential level, it will remain a referendum on whether Museveni should continue or not. So the person who raises hope among the opposition candidates will automatically become the main candidate. At the parliamentary level, parties and independents in Uganda still have an opportunity to join the parliament. I was in Ghana after J. Rawlings, only 2 parties emerged. But they also, in terms of parliament, are almost at par. The first parliament after J. Rawlings, I think the ruling party was 2 MPs more than the opposition. The numbers keep fluctuating sometimes, but they don't go beyond where you have one party dominating. So in Uganda, that is going to remain the case, that as long as you have Museveni and you have a state party, and they are very proud to be part of the state party. he tells you that there is no NOP in Chigezi. There was a time all those areas were UPC. As a younger boy, we used to line up the roads to welcome Obote as he was going to Bushenyi. At that time, there was no any other party. Obote Nyamurunga. Now you know where UPC is. So state parties in a dictatorship will have the same strength, and doesn't matter which country, as long as they are state parties sponsored by the state. Use the military, use police to supplement their efforts where they are weak. So yes, our parties can be dismissed by the Minister for ICT because of the nature of elections and the political environment in Uganda. I joined the parliament as FDC. Even in this parliament, we were 32 MPs at the beginning until one was removed. I think UPC now has about 10 to 11 MPs. DP
has 7.
About 7, 8. There are also other parties with 1 MP each, and then independents. So in Uganda, someone asked me in the media, and I told them we need to look at the objective for which parties are formed. I went to the UK in June 2000 with Ofono Opondo to observe elections. Both of us, I think Ofono had just left the media. But the party that went on the street to celebrate had become number 3 in elections, the Liberal Democrats. Their growth, their forecast was that they will grow by 2-3 parliamentary positions, because they were 38 and they became 51. So they were on the street ahead of Labour to celebrate, because they had exceeded their expectations. But there are also parties of one person, parties, Green Party, and so on and so forth. So you need to judge parties against the objectives for which they are formed. And I'm not saying our parties are similar to all these small parties in Europe and America. But the point I'm making is that these parties, when you have legitimate disagreements and the country allows you to form a party, I think for me, it is better for you to start a party than remaining and quarreling all your lives. I have a case in my village this morning. Guy who is a border rider went and set his entire family on fire. He also died, 6 of them. So when I inquired from the ROCs and police, they have had disagreements. Maybe police wanted us to stay in Najanankumbi and fight. Unfortunately, when you don't have the military, for you can, in your party, the military can beat you if you disagree with the owner of the party. He can even attempt to throw you away. I don't want to repeat history of what happened to people like Chris at one time. So the state party has mechanism and it has power. It has power to force discipline, even when there is no discipline.
But Honorable Semoju,
yes.
Just when we were trying to acclimatize and get to know what PFF is all about, a new party hit the scene. Do you think someone is going to steal the shine from you? And besides, are you shooting in the same goal, or you have...
I don't, by the way, consider ourselves as a new party. I don't. Because am I new? Is Dr. Besigye new? Our party was stolen by these 2 fellows who are putting on yellow. You wanted us to be like a DPO in Mbarara, but they first make a pilgrimage to Salim. Is that what you wanted us to do? For us, these conditions were forced on us. I had actually said I will remain FDC until when I end politics. I didn't know that Ofono and Cruz will come.
No internal mechanism to handle conflict within the party.
But the internal mechanism were overrun. Chris, you remember the party chairman had to scale down because of Chiefs and police. When we had the FDC delegates coming from Busia, they were being beaten by Chiefs in the presence of police. When we had the delegates conference at Katonga here, we were being surrounded by police. So if it was us handling the FDC matters, we would have handled them.
And you want to blame NRM for that?
I am blaming the state.
What does the arrival of these 2 new forces bring onto the political scene?
The Igbo say you can know a ripe corn. Corn is maize. You can know a ripe maize by just looking at it. By looking at DF and looking at PFF, the content there, the people there, do you think they are capable, they have ability to extend beyond River Nile, beyond Masaka? I say bloody unlikely. Let me start with the DF. All of them are fallout, debris from DP, from the other parties.
So we even have political debris.
Yes, we have political debris. So I think it is a very, it is
So
now,
you
it is
mean
simply,
this show has no standard.
yes,
Someone
it
who
is,
can-
it is simply, I said debris.
What is that?
Yeah.
Debris, broken pieces of something. Yes. I think they are being formed to secure immediately, first of all, to cleanse themselves of accusations from where they are coming. So you try to form a political party so that you cleanse yourself in the eyes of your former supporters, and if possible, keep your parliamentary seat. I think it is mainly meant for that. The people who are disagreeing in the NOP, the people who disagree with the NOP earlier, the recent fallout, they want to keep their parliamentary seat. So I don't think, oh yes, they can say what they want, what they are saying, but I don't think their real intent is to expand beyond their respective constituencies.
Yeah, but the argument is that they are coming to breathe fresh air into politics.
Why didn't they? Are they? Honorable Muhoozi said they are not new.
Yeah, for us, we are not new.
Do you really think that Honorable Muhoozi is coming to breathe freshness? I don't believe so. Yeah,
This is what you said.
But
This
it's
is what you
okay.
said, formerly,
But
when I was doing this.
it is also okay. Like Chinua Achebe said, wrote in his book, I think things fall apart. The lizard that falls from high Iroko tree to the ground can praise itself if nobody is willing to praise you. So Honorable Mabike, my brother Mpuga, they are free to praise, to say we are coming to breathe freshness in the politics. But why are they in? Why are they in DF? Because they are running from somewhere. They are being chased. You know, they are on the run for the last 2 years now. Honorable Mpuga, my brother Mpuga, and so I don't give much attention to
Yeah,
that.
but
They can keep their seats.
In shooting them down, you seem to be elevating the National Unity Platform as
No,
the force that you're contending with.
Then PFF, you remember when the disagreement broke out in the FDC, the people who are now in the PFF, what had they wanted first? They went to court, you remember? They first tried physically to go and grab the office of FDC in Najanankumbi. When they utterly failed, they went to court. Honorable, you can play back. Honorable Sembuji here said they are going to dissolve FDC. They went to court. They fought over bank accounts. You remember signatory? Who's the right signatory? They failed. Forming PFF was a last resort. How can they remain a little relevant? I think my brother, Honorable Semojo, is a good MP. And I think in his mind, and I said on this show, by the way, that he cannot be an independent. And I think this is simple information for him to be the spokesperson of, and also to help him hopefully keep his seat. And I would want Honorable Semojo to keep his seat, because he's a good MP.
Beyond looking at them as political survivors, and these the new teams that you feel, if there was an agenda to advance,
they can't be new, because where they came from, they have been our adversaries. They have been our political adversaries who have been in a tangle with them, so they can't be new. Now, so in form of impact, at least against NRM, I don't see. Now let me conclude with the question of NOPE. You said we dismissed. No, we didn't dismiss. We said NOPE was and is a wave. A wave can stay on for a while. And you are beginning to see that the wave is actually subsiding and also disintegrating as we speak today. First of all, it has failed in the last 4 years to expand beyond its original place.
But there are no elections, so you want them to expand the...
Two, no, you don't expand just by election. You expand by people joining you from different...
But that's pretty odd. Chagulanyi has just been to northern Uganda, quoting Teso.
What did he get from there?
Well, now let us wait and see. Two, I think NOPE today has lost about between 7 and 10 members of parliament in Buganda here. Losing in the sense that those who cannot speak for it in public, or those who have actually said, no, we are not part of you, or the one they themselves have discarded or are threatening to discard. And so that wave is not just subsiding, but it's also disintegrating. Is it a good situation? I think it is not a good situation. If we want to have...
I think you've been a naysayer forever when it comes to matters of NOPE.
No.
When did you ever give it to them?
No, am I the one discarding their members of parliament? Am I the one threatening Okulumba that we shall go to Masaka, we shall go to Metiana, we shall go to Lugazi, we shall go to Njero? Am I the one? It is their leadership that is doing it, not me. I'm simply analyzing from what is taking place.